Hey guys, James Graham again here from Double J's Bowling Supply, and in our vlog topic of the week, this week, we're going to talk about layouts. Last week we talked about what was your positive access point. That's a very important stat to get. Go visit your pro shop operator to get that. If you need to find out yours, you can come here and I can help you figure that out. That's not a hard process, but it's a very important stat to have when you're getting your specs off of your bowling ball. So now what we're going to talk about is how is my ball drilled? What kind of layout is on it? What's a dual angle layout? What's a Storm's way of laying out, which is called the PSA Lightning Guide, is what they use. What's these layouts that I always see on different websites? So in particular today, what we're going to talk about is I have my idle here, and it's laid out, and we've already got my positive access point, which is 5 3/8 over, and 0 up or down. So now what we're going to find out is what is my dual angle. So what I'm going to do here is this is my ProSect. Dual angle is a very something new. I think Mo Pinnell helped develop it, but this is a turbo ProSect made by Turbo Grips. What I do here is I put a line straight from pin all the way down through where I think the mass is, even though this is a symmetrical ball, it does not have a mass bias. So what I go ahead and do is I line it through my PAP next. So there is where my PAP is, which is where I wanted to drill the weight hole in this ball. So what I do is you center it on 0, spine here, right down the middle, and then we're going to find the dual angle. So the first angle here that we see, where does that intersect? And that's right on 5. So now the next thing I need to do, and as I marked 40 there, now I'm going to find, okay, well, what's the pin distance to my PAP? Where's my PAP at? And as we can see here, it's dead center, so it's going to be about 5 3/8 for me. The next angle we're going to find, so right now we have 40 by 5 3/8. The next angle we're going to find is the second angle. So we're going to put the ProSect 0 right where your PAP would be, dead center. Make sure it's lined up with the pin, dead center that. This is the spine, so it's got 0 right down the middle. And now, what is that second angle? And as you can see, it's a little change. It's about 40, I would say closer to 40, right in between 40 45. But I went ahead and put 40 on this one. So when you add these two numbers up, just to give you an idea of how this works, the first number, anywhere from 0, which is here, to 80, or actually 85, the first number, the lower the number, the more hook you're going to see, the quicker you're going to see it transition. So for this ball, it's at 40, which is pretty good for me. I like my first angle and the dual angle to be anywhere between 20 and 45. So with that, now, okay, what's the pin distance? Anytime you get a ball with a pin to your PAP where it's drilled in a 3.5 to about a 5.5 position, that's usually a strong drill. Anytime that ball is under 3.5, the pin to the PAP, at times it tends to make the ball roll a little bit sooner. So this is pretty good. 5 3/8, that's pretty strong. That's close to 5.5. This is going to be a pretty decent strong. It's going to go a little bit longer for me, which is okay. I polished this up, so that's exactly what I wanted. Now the second angle, which is right here. That's 40 as well. So that tells me it's going to transition about moderately down the lane. But then how much back in is it going to give me? Is it going to give me enough? Is it still going to continue down the lane? So at 40, once again, we're splitting it right down the middle. That's going to transition a little bit sooner. So it's going to kind of be a little bit longer because I polished this ball and then where I put the pin because I have it pin up. So this ball in particular for me, I'm going to use this ball when it's later in league, game 2, game 3, when they start to dry out. In tournaments, game 4, game 5. If it's a team tournament and you got 5 on a pair, I'm going to use it about game 3 because I want this ball to go a little bit longer before it starts to hook. We'll show you one more type of layout. We'll show you Storm's PSA Lightning Guide, and on this particular ball here, this is drilled 15 by 5 4 3/4 by 65, and that totals 80. Another thing too, when you total the numbers out from 0 to 180, because you're going to go 90 each side. So anytime you have the numbers totaling under 100, typically the ball is going to transition sooner. Anytime they're over 100, the ball is going to transition later. And as you can see in both balls, they both equal to totaling 80. The pin distance doesn't matter so much, but this is a way to kind of tell you, okay, what is my ball doing? So for Storm's PSA Lightning Guide, what we went ahead and did is the way to find this out. It's pin to PAP, which for me, this one is 4 3/4, so that's that first number there. Okay, well then what is the PAP to the mast, where the mast will be marked? And that's 2 3/8. And then what's the pin buffer? So what's the pin to the valve angle, which is the pin buffer? And that's 4. So this particular Storm Supersonic is drilled 4 3/4 by 2 3/8 by 4. Those numbers correlate to strength, and that's kind of what Storm does in their layout system. Brunswick, Deviate, Brunswick, Hammer, Motive, Storm, they all have different layout systems. This is Storm's in particular. So like this idle here, this is drilled 5.5 by 3 3/8 by 2 3/4. Storm's one of their strongest drillings, and it's all based off your PAP. So the pin distances will look different depending on what's your PAP. 4 by 4 by 2 is a pretty strong drill for most anybody, most any kind of player, whether you're a cranker, a stroker, a tweener like myself. But for these particular balls, I wanted different reactions, so I kind of made this one a little bit mid-heavy as far as its roll, and it really does pick up in the mid lane for me. And for this ball, it tends to go a little bit longer. So you always want to have balls that complement each other. So when you come in here and you want to find out your dual angle or how your ball's drilled in particular, it's not a hard thing for me to do. It's something that's very simple. And it can kind of tell you your arsenal. So when you're picking out a next ball, you know what you're looking for as far as the RG values, the differentials, the cover stocks, and then what kind of drill do I want to put in that bowling ball. So anytime you guys need any product or need any help finding out your PAP or your angles or your drills on your ball, come inside here. Double J's Bowling Supply, AMF College Lanes. James Graham signing off. Have a good summer, guys.